So today I'm doing a pick a card goddess reading, and the focus of this reading is going to be about building your empire. So if you are trying to create wealth for yourself, maybe you have a business that you're either wanting to create or a business that you'd like to expand upon, or if it's just that you want to expand your career or your sense of abundance, however you want to think of it. So building your empire, we normally think of empires as masculine endeavors, but we're going to be invoking goddess energy because it doesn't matter what our gender is. You know, we can really build the life that we want, and we can build our individual lives in a way that are not just for our own not just to fulfill our own individual needs, but to really assist in doing what's best for the highest good of all. So that's kind of going to be the focus of this reading today. And the overarching card here, this card just came out. This is from the Steampunk Tarot. So this is going to guide all of the readings, all three of the readings. Is the Ten of Wands from the Steampunk Tarot. And let me try to focus that. Okay, so she is, walking her path. The Ten of Wands is always a card about someone who is willing to take on responsibility, so someone who's really willing to do the work, and someone who kind of prefers to be her own boss in a sense. So, but she has these tarot, as she's walking her journey, she has these tarot cards falling all around her. So this card is also telling us that it is important to pay attention to our intuition as we are going forth in life and building the things that we want to build. Okay, so she's just going to sit up here, and I'll let you have a moment to look at your options here. On the left we have option 1. There are going to be 2 goddesses, or actually this deck is like a divine feminine deck. They're not necessarily goddesses, although a lot of them are. But the first one is Freyja, the goddess of discernment, and that card says, I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. So if that's an energy that you want to align yourself with, that might be the deck for you. The next one is Yemoja. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. So she's a very soulful presence. We'll talk more about each of these in a moment. And she actually is often depicted as a mermaid. And before I even drew the goddess cards, I decided to bring out my little mermaid jewelry dish. So I thought that she should have that with her. And then the last one is Catherine Laboure, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, and her card reads, I am ready to heal. I am worthy of the miracles meant for me. Okay, so I'm going to begin this reading. Just a moment. Okay, so reading number 1, we have Thecla, the prophetess of true power. And she says, I call my power back from all times and places. I am my own. And then we have Freyja again. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these goddesses. So I pulled the goddess cards beforehand, then I'm going to pull some tarot spontaneously, but I wanted to pull the goddess cards, or the divine feminine cards rather, beforehand because I wanted the chance to research them so that I could really give you a better idea of what they're trying to bring to you today in your journey of building your own empire. So, Thecla actually was a disciple of Paul from the Bible, and she chose to remain celibate. She heard Paul's teachings, and she decided that she wanted to remain celibate, which was not a very popular choice. She incurred a lot of violent attempts on her life because of this choice. So she really embodies this energy of women having the right to choose what they want to do with their bodies. So that's kind of the essence of what she brings. And in a very different way, Freyja, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. She is, I believe, a Norse goddess, the goddess of discernment. she was offered a necklace by 4 dwarves. And it was the most beautiful necklace she had ever seen, and she just wanted to have it. And she had so many valuable things that she was willing to offer them in exchange for this necklace. And all they said that they wanted was each of them wanted the opportunity to spend some time with her in bed. And so she's like, okay, I really want this necklace, so I will do that. And she did. And she got her necklace that she wanted so badly. And her husband, upon finding out, left her, which is understandable. And so for the rest of her life, she went throughout the world crying. Her tears, her tears when she was upon the land, when they reached the land, they turned into drops of gold. And I can't remember when she was on water, they turned into, I don't know, drops of jewels or something. I can't remember exactly. But it's sort of a similar energy. They, in different ways, they're both choosing how to use their sexuality. And so in terms of building your empire, if you're watching this, whether you're male or female or, non-binary, whatever your gender is, this is really about taking your power back. And in fact, that's what Thecla says here. I call my power back from all times and all places. I am my own. And Freyja also, I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. Well, yes, she really wanted that necklace. And so she did what she felt, like she had to do to get that necklace. And when we're thinking about, building a business or whatever your empire is, maybe it's an act of creation. Maybe you're trying to write a novel, or you're a painter. Maybe you're an athlete and you're trying to build your athletic career. Whatever it is, this is about saying, I'm not just going to do the status quo. I'm not just going to, live my life according to someone else's values. I might have to hurt some people, or they might feel like they want to hurt me because of the choices that I'm making, but ultimately it's my decision to make them. Okay, so I'm going to be pulling some tarot cards to give us a little more advice here. First, I'm going to ask, what is the strength of your current endeavors? So what are you currently doing? What's the strength of that? And I'm pulling again from the Steampunk Tarot here. Okay, so 5 of Wands. I'm not surprised to get this card as a strength for you because, both of the Divine Feminine Oracle cards we've gotten so far have been very much about standing your ground. And we see the Divine Feminine here standing in the background, holding her own with all these guys. And, she's not afraid to get in the shuffle and do what she needs to do. So that's a strength that you're bringing to the table. So what you're doing already, you're not afraid of competing. So that's wonderful. So that's the strength that you're bringing. So you need to continue with that. Do not be afraid to compete. You are a worthy opponent. You have what it takes. You can beat the competition. And if there are some new possibilities, new things that you haven't undertaken quite yet, but that you're thinking about, the next card I want to draw from the Cosmic Tarot deck is going to answer the question, what is the strength of these new ideas you're having, these new possibilities? Whatever new possibilities might be presenting themselves or new ideas that you have, what is the strength of those? Okay, and this is again from the Cosmic Tarot. I'm getting the Prince of Pentacles. So in this deck, there's a Prince and Princess of Pentacles. They're kind of on an even heel. It's not like one is more advanced than the other. So this is just a more masculine approach to the material world, to the world of finance, to the world of, manifesting in material reality. So, again, you're coming through as someone who is not afraid of pushing forward with their goals. the Prince of Pentacles shows that whatever this new idea you have, it's very strong. I mean, it's, you know, you're going to manifest great abundance and success for yourself with these new ideas. So you should continue with those. I mean, these are good seeds that you're planting, in other words. Okay, and then next from the Tarot of the Cat People, I'm going to draw a card representing advice. This is an advice card on how best to advance with both your current endeavors and new endeavors that you're undertaking. Okay, we have another 5 card. This is the 5 of Swords. Okay, so again, there's a competitive feeling here. In some versions of the tarot, we see it feels more like competition is not a good thing, but here it's like, you know, you have a very strong intellect, and it's almost like these, I don't know, are these leopards? The leopards are looking at him. They're almost a little scared of him, but also I feel like they sort of admire him. So he's coming at this, you know, again with this conquering energy, like nothing is going to stop me. So you're being reminded, you know, you have a competitive edge here. You are a conqueror. You're going to do this. So that's the advice. Just remind yourself, you know, that you have a very strong intellect and you're going to succeed. So it's about confidence. And I forgot to mention also, Freyja is a lot about self-confidence as well. She really wants people to appreciate themselves. That's part of her message as well, especially your body. You know, so if you have any body issues or just any issues of self-confidence about these projects that you're undertaking, these goals that you have, she's telling you you really need to practice self-love and self-appreciation. Okay, and the last question I would like to ask, and I'm going to go back to the Cosmic Tarot. It's a new deck that I just got and I kind of like it. But this last question is advice on what to avoid. Okay. So what to avoid? We get the King of Wands, which is interesting. So the Wands cards, as opposed to the Pentacles cards, are definitely more risk-taking and adventurous. So they dominate in a different way than the other cards. So, you know, you've been asked to be competitive here and to have faith in yourself, but the King of Wands sometimes can be a little too dominating and almost a little bossy. So I would say this is a caution, especially if you have other people working for you, or just if you're, you know, part of what you're doing involves working with other people, just to kind of rein that in. Yeah. So I would say that's the overall message here for reading number 1. Okay, I had to pause there to get set up. This is reading number 2. First we have Enheduanna, the High Priestess. She says, I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love. Then again we have Yemoja. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. So Yemoja again is often depicted as a mermaid, and she comes from the Yoruban, the Yoruban spiritual tradition, which is out of Nigeria. She's actually kind of a Mother Mary symbol, or she has a similar presence to Mother Mary. She gave birth to all of the other gods and goddesses in the Yoruban, what's the word? Anyway, she gave birth to all of the other Yoruban gods and goddesses. So she's like a primal mother figure. She's very connected to oceans and water energy, which I feel like makes her very soulful. So you really are encouraged in what you're doing to tap into your very soul, the essence of your very soul, but not only your soul, but this sense of oneness and connectedness with everything and everyone in the cosmos, to tap into that. You know, you might have you might want to go do a past life regression or get some kind of past life reading to really tap into some things here. And yeah, so she's just very loving and very motherly. So you're giving birth to something that's very special, and that's very nice. I was trying to think what else I wanted to say about her. And Heduana is, I just love her. She was actually, in the written record, she was the first poet of any gender. So she's the first poet in the written record, and she's best known for, she was also a high priestess, which was a very lofty position. So she was very powerful. She was like a boss, you know. She basically, I mean, she was kind of an authority figure for the world in which she lived. You know, so spiritually and creatively, these cards are both very spiritual and creative. So whatever you're doing, maybe you have a spiritual business or something like that, or you're an artist of some kind. But in Heduana, she's best known actually for writing about a goddess, Ishtar, also known as Inanna, who is actually going to show up in reading 3, funnily enough. And I picked these cards randomly. I didn't choose them. I just, you know, shuffled and picked. So that's interesting. But anyway, so she will get you in touch with goddess energy. And these are great cards if you're a creative and or spiritual person. And okay, we're going to go into the tarot portion here. First, I want to ask, what is the strength of your current endeavors? So the strength, what are you currently doing that's working for you? I get the Hermit. So yeah, you definitely, this is from the Steampunk Tarot. You definitely are you're a seeker. You're a very spiritual, introspective person. And so part of your strength right now is that you really draw on looking inward. There's a lot of looking inward energy here, and that's really working for you. Sorry, there's something attached to my finger there. So that's a wonderful strength. So you're being encouraged with that. And also want to think about what are some new ideas you're having right now, and what are the strength of those new ideas. We're going to go to the Cosmic Tarot here. And I'm getting the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is a very independent woman. She doesn't really need to be in a relationship, and that kind of goes along with the Hermit. So you might be someone who is single, or even if you're in a relationship, maybe you just need a lot of solitude. You kind of need to do your own thing. And so that's a strength here as well. The fact that you're really in tune with what you want. You don't really feel like you need to rely on other people. You're very independent. Okay. So whatever new ideas you have, again, your independence is being applauded. Okay, now I'm going to pull from the Tarot of the Cat People, and this card is going to represent advice on how best to advance. How best to advance, and from Tarot of the Cat People we get the Death card. So something needs to be transformed. There's something that needs to fall away in order for something else to grow. And probably, I would assume, because you are very introspective, sorry, I'm trying to get that to focus, because you are very introspective, you probably already know what this is, but I'm just gonna pull 2 more cards just to help you out here. What is it that needs to fall away? I get the 4 of Wands, and what does that allow you to bring into your life? Okay, the Magician. So the Four of Wands is a card about celebration. A lot of times it's also a card about weddings or marriages. So if you're in a partnership, I'm hesitant to say that you should necessarily leave a relationship, but there is a feeling here of needing to be alone. So whatever that means for you, it might just mean that you need more separation from your partner if you are in a relationship, or you just need to make sure that they're not influencing what you do. Or, and this would be kind of up to you to determine, or you might want to, seek further guidance or just do some soul seeking, but it could mean, an end to a relationship. But whatever it is, it's a death of something, a death of some way of being. And when you do that, you really are able to become, a terrific manifester of all of your goals, because you become then the magician. Okay, and for the final card, I'm going to ask advice on what to avoid. Is there anything that you need to avoid in terms of any new projects that you're undertaking, or even any existing ones? But what's the advice about what to avoid? Okay, and I get the Two of Cups for what to avoid. So, if you're working with a business partner, it could mean maybe this partnership is not working. But it also, again, could be like a romantic relationship is really holding you back. So, that seems to be pretty strong here. Again, I'm not telling anyone necessarily to leave their relationship, but I feel like this reading definitely brings up, I would at least meditate on it and really think about, is this relationship good for me? It might be a personal relationship, it might be a business relationship, but I would just think about, and it could just be in general, how you come together with other people, how you interact with other people, and what needs to change regarding those interactions. Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to do that. I am now going to move on to number 3. Okay, this is reading number 3, and I just noticed that this is starting at 2222, so that's pretty cool. The first, these aren't all goddesses actually, but it's called the Divine Feminine Oracle, and I've already forgotten who it's made by. I just got it. But Inanna, her card says, "I have nothing to hide. I see and accept all of who I am." So Inanna has and she's also called Ishtar. She, goes by both names. She has an interesting story. She tricked her way into going into the Underworld, so she lied in order to get to the Underworld. And I can't remember what her purpose was originally in going there, but she was basically found to be guilty because she lied her way in, and she was, brutally killed. Eventually, she was brought back to life and allowed to go back to, I don't know, Earth. What's the word that means the opposite of the Underworld? Anyway, she was allowed to return back home. But in order for her to do that, because you can't just escape, when you go to the Underworld, you can't just escape so easily. Someone has to take your place. So there were 2 people who were brought in to take her place. One of them would take her place for half of the year, and another one would take her place for the other half of the year, which brought about the seasons. And I really like the quote here, "I have nothing to hide, I see and accept all that I am," because she is a goddess who, willfully went into the Underworld. And if you're familiar with Carl Jung and the concept of our shadow self, the shadow self and the persona self, that the shadow aspects of us, those are the parts of us, which are very true parts of us. We can be deceitful, we can be liars, we can be, lots of horrible things. Some of those things we don't really want to look at. But Inanna teaches us that we can't be afraid of those aspects of ourselves, because Because everything about us is important to acknowledge. We need to integrate our shadow self within the rest of us. And that doesn't mean that we go around letting our shadow, like if we're, acting like a tyrant all the time and making everyone else feel miserable, that's not good. But the point of integrating your shadow is really just accepting all of who you are, not just what looks good about you, but accepting all of it, the good and the bad. And what we also have to remember about the shadow, just as much as the persona, which is like, what you put out on your Facebook, what you want people to think about you, that's not the truth of who you are either. We all know that. We all know that this facade we put out, what we want people to think, that's not the truth of us, and neither is our shadow. Neither of those aspects of ourselves are true. And when it comes to our shadow, we have to remind ourselves that, our shadow does not lead us. Just like our literal shadow doesn't lead us, it follows us. It follows where we go. So we have to remind ourselves to accept our shadow for what it really is, which is an illusion. It's not our true self. And we also have to remind ourselves that it's not going to be very healthy if we over-identify with our shadow either. And if you have a poor self-concept, you might begin to really identify with negative qualities about yourself. And the more you do that, the more like that you become. So accepting and integrating the shadow is about, just self-acceptance, self-love, loving every aspect of who you are, but not letting the shadow control you, but also not letting that persona control you. So are you being authentic? That's going to be very important. And whatever this empire is that you're creating, and that's I don't know what that is. That could be a business, career, maybe a creative project, whatever it is. Just accept every aspect of who you are and do your best to integrate these aspects of yourself so that you can be truly authentic. And our other divine feminine card is Catherine Laboure, the patroness of miraculous healing. She's a Catholic saint. She says, "I am ready to heal. I am worthy of the miracles meant for me." And her story is interesting. She received a miracle. She was approached by Mother Mary, who gave her a vision of, she was wearing several jewels, and some of the jewels shone very brightly, and some didn't. And so she asked Mother Mary, why do some of these jewels not shine? And she said, well, these jewels represent all of the graces, and the ones that don't shine represent the graces that people forget to ask for, or that they don't ask for. And grace is just like a supernatural gift from God that really allows us, I'm not Catholic, so I'm probably not explaining this in the best way, and I had to look this up beforehand, but it's allowing God to kind of work through us. When you allow God's grace to work through you, you can bring the highest good into the world. You can create heaven on earth. And it's funny because Inanna is the queen of heaven and earth, so we kind of get that from both of these cards. So quickly, I'm going to go into the tarot portion of this. I'm going to pull a card from the Steampunk Tarot representing the strength of your current endeavors. So what you've already created, what you're already doing, what's your strength there, and you have the world. I really feel like what you're doing is in the highest good of the world. And I believe this partly because Catherine Laboure, part of the message from Mother Mary that she got is that France, there is evil in France and in the world. And she wanted to bring this vision to Catherine Laboure to help heal the world of this evil. So a part of that is, again, acknowledging that there is evil in the world, but also recognizing that that evil is an illusion. We can see beyond that. If you're, I would encourage you to read about ascension, ascension into the fifth dimensional new earth, if that's not something you've read about before, because whatever you're undertaking right now is really going to be spiritually significant to a lot of people and is going to help in that process. The next card from the Cosmic Tarot is going to represent the strength of any new ideas or possibilities. Okay. Well, we're just going to hold this. The Princess of Swords. So you're very intelligent. You have strong skills of discernment, which again, it's like you can really peer into what is good and what is evil in the world, which is going to be helpful to you because the work you're doing is helping to create good in the world, and it's really about, creating what's in the best interest of all, the highest good of all. Next, I want to look at advice on how best to advance. This is some good energy here. The Star card. Wow. Wow. This is, really, like, if you're not already interested in, like, ascension, you really need to look into that, because you're very connected to the cosmos, cosmic energies, and we are in an ascension process right now. And this is showing that you need to continue to, think about the highest good of all. That's a strong message for you. Whatever you're undertaking right now is going to benefit all of humanity. It's going to benefit everyone in some way. Maybe it's hard for you to see that, but you need to have faith in that. And pick a final card here from Tarot of the Cat People. I'm getting a little flustered by the wind, sorry. And this final card is advice on what to avoid. So we already had advice on how to help you move forward, and this is advice on what to avoid. And we have the 8 of Pentacles. And in this deck, this shows 2 musicians. One of them is a mentor to the other. I'm a little confused on what this would mean about what to avoid. What's coming to mind first of all is, you need to, I think what this is saying is you really need to recognize how important you are right now to the world, and that you might think that you need a mentor, and maybe you do, but you need to also recognize that you're a teacher as well. You're teaching other people, so you're equal. If you think that you're somehow spiritually inferior and that you need someone else to guide you, you're guided inwardly. You have a sense of inner guidance, and you need to become the teacher. You need to become a teacher and a guide, even like a spirit guide, because, we think of spirit guides as being from spirit, but there are people all around us. We're all guides for each other. We're all here to teach each other things. So you need to remember that. Okay, so this has been a wonderful reading. I loved all 3 of these readings. I hope that you all appreciated them as well and got something wonderful out of this. If you enjoyed this, I'm pretty new to doing these videos.